Hi, I'm Mike, I'm an alcoholic, and you're telling my life story. I grew up in Berlin Heights, Ohio, which is located halfway between Toledo and Cleveland. Small town, 700 people. A lot of family time, Middle Bass Island, and growing up in boats. My grandfather lived right next door, and he would take us out in the boat and go fishing. Sports, wrestling, and football. Made all conference in football growing up. Dad had a construction business. Lutes Brothers Excavating. It started out as my grandfather, my dad, and my Uncle Bud. Graduated high school in 1975 and bought into the company by buying the first pipe laser that the company owned. This is a small mom and pop kind of thing they did. Alcohol was always around the house at home growing up, and it was just one of those things, and that's when I jumped in that. There was an old song that went, I had dozens of friends and the fun never ends as long as I'm buying. Well, that was my desire. At that time, the money was still coming in for the business. I had money to spend, and I was buying for my friends, and I was the life of the party. When I was drinking until the bar closed. There were occasions when I would get sick to my stomach in the restroom and come back and drink some more so that I could keep drinking. When the payday would hit, you'd have the money to start drinking and hanging out, and we found a bar that would cash our checks, and I can remember times being broke on Friday morning after I'd probably bought the whole bar drinks. A lot of the times I don't remember what happened or even the next day, how I got home or where I was at. I wrecked 4 cars in a pickup truck. The pickup truck was a 3/4 ton Chevrolet work truck that was Dad's. Totaled a Datsun 280ZX 2+2 GL. Totaled a Porsche 924. Hit an oak tree in the front yard of a funeral home. Yeah, wrecked a motorcycle going 130 mile an hour. Broke my back and my pelvis. Woke up in the hospital. So they told me what I had done, and I'd gone off the edge of the road and hit an oak tree 6 foot in diameter. They had said that it was fortunate that I was so inebriated that I stayed limber. I didn't tense up when I hit the tree. None of those accidents had any effect on the drinking. Frequent the Holiday Inn in Sandusky and drink there, and I'd get a room and then just stay. Smart enough not to drive at that time, but then I had the company truck with all the tools on it, and Dad would have to come and get the truck. I didn't realize what I was doing to myself until early February 1983 when I got picked up by the State Highway Patrol. I was traveling at 92 miles an hour, left of center, and they took me in for a sobriety test, and I blew a .29 and passed out in the State Patrol station. And as part of my sentence, I had to go to 10 AA meetings. The first meeting I went to, I just kind of sat around and listened, taking everything in. The second meeting I went to, I was more listening and hearing what people were saying, and decided at that point that they were telling my life story just with a different name. And the instructors, he told me, out of this whole class of 32, there's going to be one of you that I'll never see again and will never drink again. And I took that as a personal challenge.
So what's that journey been like post-sobriety?
I'm not sure I'd be where I am right now if I hadn't met Barbara.
Hi, I'm Barb. He was with his parents.
She walked by the table and she said, "Hi, Mike."
I said hello.
And I'm like, I don't know who you are.
over. I didn't realize at the time that he didn't remember me, that he did not know who I was. When he stayed then after his parents left, his words to me were, "How do I know you?" We talked, and you said then he wasn't drinking anymore, and he asked me out, and I said no. I was unable to go out. I said, I'm a single mom, I work, I have 2 kids. My kids had baseball games. He asked me where they were, their games, the park, that the next afternoon he showed up at the baseball games. I didn't know he was coming, and he started coming to all of them then. I'm from a large family. I'm from a family of 10 children. When he first asked me out, I had said, "You don't want to date me." I have 7 brothers and 2 sisters, and my brothers were a little protective. It was a challenge. It was a big challenge for him, but he did very well. And he really liked my dad, and my dad really liked him, and that made all the world. That helped a lot with the relationship he did not have with his dad.
Talk about your dad. What was he like?
He was a taskmaster. He wanted things done right and done right the first time. When I got full blown into the business after graduation, it quickly became apparent that it was about chasing the money. Expected the most out of me, out of everybody, because I was his son. His verbal was intense enough that you didn't want it to be physical. So Dad had had a heart attack and left me with everything. He survived, but he left me with all the business and the chasing the money part as well to try and make the payroll. And at that time we were going without paychecks ourselves. Decided at that point that that's not what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. Reaction by my dad when I told him that I was leaving wasn't good. He blew up and yelled and screamed, and it was rough for a long time between the 2 of us. I don't know if he ever got over it. We didn't talk much. He kind of ignored Barb's kids at Christmas time. So that was pretty tough. I had just gotten sober before all this, and besides being that sober, being the hard part, this was the hardest thing to tell him. So I'd been at the company that I left Dad for 19 years, and they were big on giving you your yearly bonus at Christmas time. They sat me down and told me that I wasn't going to be getting a bonus that year because I hadn't been doing my job for the last 2 years. And I said, well, you're going to have to explain to me why that is. And we just finished 2 multi-million-dollar projects a year ahead of schedule for each one of them. We had 2 years to do them, and we knocked them out in a year. And they didn't want to hear it. They were done with me.
I knew Kwest was going to be good. The first time we met Ryan, I remember they sat outside out back and talked, and how much better he felt after he talked to someone else, because I think it gave him the sense that he was worth something. He was somebody. There would be someone out there who'd make him feel, he was worthy again. Once he changed jobs, his whole demeanor changed, and he became a much bigger person.
I've been at Kwest 16 and a half years. It'll be 17 years in July. It's just been the opposite end of the spectrum of the 19 years that I spent. Have come to realize was pretty much agony.
When you work for someone who does appreciate their employees and takes care of their employees, you just can't say enough. You can't.
I led the first crew that was out of state when we started doing the military work. We went to Texarkana,
He's always been safe, always.
Texas, and did some work at Red River Army Depot. I just kind of, I got addicted to that, leading the charge, leading the tip of the spear, Ryan Odendahl calls it.
Kwest has done above and beyond anything that we ever expected.
There's a feeling of self-worth working at Kwest. You know, they treat you how you want to be treated, the way they treat each other.
Respect.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I've noticed about Kwest employees.
Dad passed away in the nursing home. He was suffering dementia very bad. He was thinking he was back at Middle Bass Island. From the decor that was in his room, he thought he was at Middle Bass for some reason, and kind of pleased that he was thinking he was someplace where he was happy, you know, to be at Middle Bass and not locked up in a nursing home. But it was funny, it always came back to work. When he went off, it was always about work. Even as he was reaching the end, he was still thinking about work. The advice I would give my younger self is listen to your dad more. Something we didn't tell each other. I might tell him I love him. He taught me everything I know. And it took me this long to realize it. If it wasn't for Barb and the kids, I know I wouldn't be here today in this position. She always says I'm her rock, but she's my grounding force. I'm grateful we've got each other. Mm-hmm. Found each other.
Our kids have made us very proud, and that has a lot to do with when you're together, you realize we did it together. I didn't do it alone.
I'm grateful for Ryan Odendahl. Mm-hmm. Everything we've accomplished together and the way he's helped me grow.
Kwest is a great group, and I don't even work for him.
And when the things look dark, just turn on the light switch and ask for help or find somebody to help you and keep going. I've told Barb recently, but right now I am living the perfect life, the best life.
That's good.
More motorcycles.
Oh, jeez. We have no more room, dear.
Oh. You didn't tell me you were going to ask those kinds of questions. It's time to talk.